Hello and welcome to our review in progress of No Man's Sky. My name is James and I'm joined by Matt, who has been playing the game relentlessly for at least the last day.
At least the last day, yeah.
So we're not ready to give it a score yet, obviously, because we haven't been playing it for that long. But Matt, you've started your journey to the centre of the universe.
Yeah, well, that might even be an exaggeration in itself. I have started it. I immediately probably went off piece. So when you start out, that you can speak to an orb. There's a glowing orb which will kind of guide you, I think, on like the sort of required path if you choose to go that way. But you can ignore the orb and just go off and do whatever you want if you want. And I pretty much did that. And then as you sort of progress, your ship gets better and better. You get the ability to do warp jumps, which we'll probably come to in a bit. And then again, when you have that, you get to that point, you can then kind of follow like a path, which gives you kind of an idea of how long it'll take you to get to the middle of the universe. But you don't have to do that at all. You can just go wherever way you want. So I kind of went and explored elsewhere, which I may come to regret later on in the week. But yeah, it's pretty open-ended.
Okay, well, let's start at the beginning. So the beginning of the game, everybody starts on a different planet.
Yeah.
But everyone, you say, will be doing the same thing?
Pretty much, yeah. So when you start, you're essentially shipwrecked. So you have a series of things on your ship that you need to fix. And to do that, you'll have to collect like certain items. So there's some things that you basically find everywhere. There's like copper and zinc, which you can find in plants and in sort of rocks and stuff like that. And you begin with a mining laser. So you just go and basically sort of zap these things and suck them up. And you kind of eventually get to like build like components of different things in a little bit of a kind of Minecrafty way that will then let you sort of get off the planet. But then there's normally one element, and I think it's different for every person. It'll take you a little bit longer to go find. So for me, I had like a 10-minute walk to find a big block of Iridium, I think it was called. And that's kind of what I needed to get off the planet. It probably would have been a shorter walk if I'd realised where the run button was, but that took me a while as well. That's I was going in really cold.
That's what happens when you skip tutorials. Or
exactly,
yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, exactly. So on your way through the planet, you might not necessarily meet some creatures, depending on what planet you start on and things, but you bumped into some.
I did, yeah. Most of them were quite friendly. So the majority of ones I met on the first planet were kind of these sort of lumbering herbivore types, and they were quite friendly. And then I found like a clearing with a building in, and something I couldn't see started attacking me, and it was basically like a little tiny brain on legs with spikes all over it. So that was kind of terrifying. But it died really easily. I just lasered it, like a true sort of...
Like a true space hero.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just stamped on the brain with legs. But yeah, most of the stuff I found, to be honest, has been quite sort of passive. But that was... Yeah, the most aggressive thing I found are the plants. There's one plant that looks like a great big whip that just smacks you whenever you walk past it. So, yeah, burn it.
Okay, well, it's not just about collecting resources, right? So on the planet, there's also points of interest that you can go and visit.
There's loads, yeah.
Does that give you things?
Yeah, there's various different things you can find. So you've got save points and stuff, and you've got areas that you can kind of claim for yourself and then rename. There's monoliths, which unlock like pieces of alien information and different words as well. So like, depending on whereabouts in the universe you are, you can basically collect like a language, an alien language, which is really cool, actually. That was one of the things I didn't go into too much detail in the review, just because there's so much that happened in a single day. But yeah, that'll take up a lot of people's time, I think. And then you find that in a kind of a very Skyrim way, that when you're walking towards your goal, you'll sort of be getting close to it, and then you'll just end up going off in another direction and doing a different thing. Whether or not that will be as compelling over 30 hours, I don't know. But certainly in one day, it was cool. It took me ages to do anything just because I kept on getting distracted.
And it's easy to forget that all of this is taking place on one planet.
Yeah.
In this giant universe.
Yeah.
So does it do that sense of scale in the way that you thought it was going to?
It's insane. Yeah. Yeah, it really does. So especially because the way the opening works is you're strolling around for like an hour or two, maybe an hour, and then you get back to your ship and you probably cover the same distance it took you all that time to walk in like a matter of seconds. And then off the back of that, you go into space, and then you get to boost through space, and you're kind of traveling between like planets and moons and stuff. And then you get like your hyperdrive. So like it's all about like cutting down distances. And as you travel between places, you can sort of see the amount of time it'll take decrease as you increase your speed and travel in a different method. So like if you're traveling at normal speed between planets, we're like, you will arrive at your destination in 3 years. And then as you get like the kind of warp jumps and stuff, it kind of goes down to a series of minutes. But there is like, it's not faked. Those things are that far apart.
That's a series of real-time minutes then?
Yeah. So if you travelled, like, someone will probably do a YouTube video of this. If you travelled, like, the actual time it takes to get you from one planet to another, it would take you days.
And that's just leaving it careering towards the planet.
Yeah.
Just leaving it on.
Yeah, you'd have to, like, use an elastic band to tape down the accelerator.
Right.
But, it's huge. It's
So
crazy.
when you're on these planets and you're collecting all these resources, one of the things that you had an issue with was how quickly your inventory fills up.
Yeah, like you can upgrade it so it gets bigger, but certainly you'll find yourself throwing things away and discarding them. At any point, you can sort of transfer things from your exosuit to your ship immediately. Even then, the inventory will fill up pretty quickly. And you basically need loads of different stuff all of the time. So you need loads of different resources to fuel your ship. Loads of everything that you wear as well, like your exosuit is a life support system, and the energy runs down on that, and your weapons and stuff will need recharging. So you get through a lot of stuff. There's definitely a lot of resource management, which can feel a little bit kind of gamey, maybe takes you out of the moment ever so slightly, but it's a necessary part of the game. Like,
Now, naming stuff in it is obviously a big thing. Being
Yeah.
able to look at things and name it because you're the first person who's seen that crazy creature.
yeah.
Does that matter? Is anyone else going to see the names that you call?
Probably not. Like, I can't even remember the amount of planets, quintillions, something like that.
18 quintillion planets.
Basically infinite, and like the likelihood of anyone else seeing it is amazingly slim. And also, you probably won't ever go backwards, so you'll probably just keep going forward and forward and forward. And you could go back and look at what you did and reminisce about the time you called a plant flumps or something. But you're really unlikely to, and I think it's equally unlikely that anyone else is going to stumble across it, which maybe takes the edge off a little bit, but it's still fun. And I like the idea of people at Hello Games just seeing all these stupid names come in and laughing at us for being idiots. I presume the further you get towards the centre, like obviously it closes in, and anyone that gets to those central planets maybe has a greater chance of other people bumping into the stuff that they've named, but better get a wiggle on because people are going to get there quickly. So.
And I guess that's one of the other things is you'll probably never see another person who's playing it, even though everyone's in the same universe.
Yeah, I don't even know how that works, but I think it will be hard enough if you only had 100 planets because they're huge, and you're obviously just like a tiny little speck. I must confess, the first time I played it, a couple of ships flew overhead, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm the one. I'm the guy that other people have found." Yeah. But they would just say hi. I was all shooting in the air to try and get their attention, not like Robinson Crusoe because he didn't have a laser gun. But you get the idea.
Okay, so I guess the big question is this going to keep you interested for the next chunk of time that you've got with it, like for the 30 hours that apparently it's meant to take to get to the middle of the universe?
It's definitely not for everyone, and I think anyone that thinks that it is probably going to be a little bit disappointed. But I love it. I think it's great. And I can't wait to sort of crack on with it. I left my game yesterday on a really interesting looking moon that was just full of stuff. I think you're going to get there's a sense of discovery everywhere you go, but it's limited by the fact that it's the same kind of discovery. So you're going to be discovering like a different kind of animal or a different kind of monolith, or eventually, I guess, another alien race. That's probably a big thing. That'll be hopefully my next sort of big discovery is a completely different alien race because all the ones I've met so far have been the same. And I think depending on where you are, you'll probably have a similar experience. But yeah, there's like it's unlike anything I've played. I think maybe if you played something like Elite Dangerous, something like that, you probably feel like it's a little bit more limited. But it's kind of early days. We've already seen one great big patch that's added a load of story elements and stuff. So definitely try it. It's unlike anything else I've played, and that in itself makes it worthwhile.
And a quick aside while we're talking about other games, its death system is a little bit like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, where if you get killed, you drop not all your resources, but some resources, and then you have to go back to that location to pick them up.
Yeah, that happened to me. I got killed by pirates. I was sort of about to land on a planet, and I got a little warning flash up saying they were about to attack, and I thought, like, well, obviously, I'll take these guys out.
I have lasers.
Yeah, it turned out my lasers are rubbish because I was like basically flying like the entry level ship, the dust can of the sky. So I got blown to pieces. But yeah, it was just like I kind of had a save point on a nearby space station, so I just flew back there and picked them up. I understand if you die in the interim, you're going to lose all your stuff, but which is bad. But I think it's very similar to Dark Souls, and you can get that stuff back. You're just going to have to grind a bit.
Okay, so what did you name your little dudes?
Which ones?
Flumps.
No, that was a type of plant. I found like a lizard dog fox thing that I called star corgis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you see any flumps or star corgis out there in the universe...
Flurms, that's what the plants were called, yeah.
Right.
Flurms or star corgis.
Then please let us know in the comments below, and we would have visited Matt's planet. But in the meantime, he's going to continue his journey through space and hopefully meet some alien creatures along the way. So check back tomorrow for our video of day 2 of this ongoing No Man's Sky review. And don't forget to stay tuned to the channel for more gaming news, reviews, previews, and features right here on GamesRadar Plus.